That was a nice chapter we finished. Now I'm starting on the new chapter titled The King's Ankush. Ka, the big rock python, had changed his skin for perhaps the 200th time since his birth. I hope you are all aware that snakes change their skin. It is like we human beings, we take bath and we remove our clothes, take bath and put on new clothes. Like that, snakes, every season, will remove their old skin and they'll get new skin. It will grow from inside. When the skin grows from inside at the proper time, the outer skin will slough off. S-L-O-U-G-H. Slough. Slowing means to removing the skin, outer skin. So the outer skin will be sloughed. So Mowgli has perhaps 200 times since his birth that he has changed his skin. And Mowgli, who never forgot that he owed his life to Kaa for a night's work at Cold Lairs, which you may perhaps remember, went to congratulate him. So Mowgli went to congratulate Kaa. Skin changing always makes a snake moody and depressed, till the new skin begins to shine and look beautiful. Kaa never made fun of Mowgli anymore, but accepted him as the other jungle people did. For the master of the jungle and Kaa never made fun of Mowgli anymore and accepted him as the jungle people did for the master of the jungle, and brought him all the news that a python of his size would naturally hear. What Kaa did not know about the middle jungle, as they call it, the life that runs close to the earth or under it, the boulder, the burrow, and the tree bore life, might have been written upon the smallest of his scales. He knew everything about what is happening on the ground, under it, in the tree holes and roots, everywhere. That afternoon, Mowgli was sitting in the circle of Kaa's great coils, fingering the flaked and broken old skin that lay all looped and twisted among the rocks, just as Kaa had left it. Kaa had very courteously packed himself under Mowgli's broad, bare shoulders, so that the boy was really resting in a living armchair. Even to the scales of the eyes, it is perfect, said Mowgli, under his breath, playing with the old skin. Strange to see the covering of one's own head at one's own feet. But I lack feet, said Kaa. And since this is the custom of all my people, I do not find it strange. Does your skin never feel old and harsh? Then I go and wash, flattered. But it is true, in the great heats, I have wished that I could slough my skin without pain and run skinless, says Mowgli. I wish, and also I take off my skin. How does the new skin look? Mowgli ran his hand down the diagonal checkerings of the immense back. The turtle is harder backed, but not so gay, he said judgmentally. The frog, my name bearer, is more gay, but not so hard. It is very beautiful to see, like the mottling of the mouth of a lily. It needs water. A new skin never comes to full color before the first bath. Let us go bathe. So Kaa tells Mowgli, let us go bathe. I'll carry thee, said Mowgli, and he stooped down, laughing, to lift the middle section of Kaa's great body just where the barrel was thickest. A man might just as well have tried to heave up a 2-foot water main, and Kaa lay still, puffing with quiet amusement. Then the regular evening game began. The boy in the flush of his great strength, and the python in his sumptuous new skin, standing one against the other for a wrestling match, a trial of eye and strength. Of course, Kaa could have crushed a dozen Mowglis if he had let himself go. But he played carefully and never lost 1/10 of his power. Ever since Mowgli was strong enough to endure a little rough handling, Kaa had taught him this game, and it supplied him his limbs as nothing else could. Sometimes Mowgli would stand lapped almost to his throat in Kaa's coils, striving to get out of it, get one arm free and catch him by the throat. Then Kaa would give way limply, and Mowgli, with quick moving feet, would try to cramp the purchase of Mowgli's tail, huge tail, as it flung backward and forward, feeling for a rock or a stump. They would rock to and fro, head and tail, each waiting for the chance till the beautiful statue-like group melted in a whirl of black and yellow coils and struggling legs and arms to raise up again and again. Now, 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 said Kaa, making feints with his head that even Mowgli's quick hand could not turn aside. Look, I touch you again. Look, I touch you again. Here, here, here. And your hands are numb. You cannot even catch me. The game always ended in one way, with a straight driving blow of the head that knocked the boy over and over. Mowgli could never learn the guard for that lightning lunge. And as Kaa said, there was not the least use trying, because that was Kaa's master stroke. Good hunting, Kaa grunted at last, and Mowgli, as usual, was shot away half a dozen yards, gasping and laughing. He rose with his fingers full of grass and followed Kaa to the wise snake's pet bathing place, a deep, pitchy black pool surrounded with rocks and made interesting by sunken tree stumps. The boy slipped in jungle fashion without a sound and dived across, rose too without a sound, and turned on his back, his arms behind his head, watching the moon rising above the rocks and breaking up her reflection in the water with his toes. Kaa's diamond-shaped head cut the pool like a razor and came out to rest on Mowgli's shoulder. They lay still, soaking luxuriously in the cool water. So Kaa and Mowgli, enjoying their friendship. Kaa is the mighty boa constrictor, and Mowgli is the light young boy, and they enjoyed each other's company. "It's very good," Mowgli said at last, sleepily. Now in the man pack at this hour, as I remember, they had them down upon the hard pieces of wood in the inside of a mud trap, and having carefully shut out all the clean winds, drew foul cloth over their heavy heads and made evil songs through their noses. It is better in the jungle. So Mowgli is referring to the village folk using the hookah and smoking hashish or whatever. And he says this is better in the jungle. A hurrying cobra slipped over a rock and drank and gave them a good hunting signal and went away. "Shh," said Kaa, as though he had suddenly remembered something. "So the jungle gives you all that you have ever desired, little brother?" he asked. "Not all," said Mowgli, laughing. "Else there would be a new and strong Shere Khan to kill once a moon. Now I could kill with my own hands, asking no help of buffaloes. And also I have wished the sun to shine on the in the middle of the rains, and the rains to cover the sun in the middle of summer. And also, I have never gone empty, but I wished I had killed a goat. And also, I have never killed a goat, but I wished it had been a buck. Nor a buck, but I wished it had been an eel guy. But this we feel, all of us. So Mowgli is expressing how when he kills a small one, he wished he had killed a large one. And that is done by everybody. When they achieve something small, they wish they had achieved more. You have no other desire, the big snake demanded. What more can I wish? I have the jungle and the favor of the jungle. Is there anything more anywhere between sunrise and sunset? Now the cobra said, the car began. What cobra? He that went away just now and said nothing? He was hunting. It was another. Hasn't you any dealings with the poison people? I give them their own path. They carry death in the foretooth, and that is not good, for they are so small. But what hood is this you have spoken with? Car coiled slowly in the water like a steamer in a beam sea. 3 or 4 moons since, said he, I hunted in cold lairs, which place you have not forgotten, and the thing I hunted fled shrieking past the tanks and to that house whose side I once broke for your sake and ran into the ground. But the people of Cold Lairs do not live in burrows. Mowgli knew that Kaa was talking of the monkey people. The thing was not for living, but seeking to live, Kaa replied, with a quiver of his tongue. He ran into a burrow that led very far. I followed, and having killed, I slept. And when I waked, I went forward. Under the earth? Even so, coming at last upon a white hood, a white cobra, who spoke of things beyond my knowledge, and showed me many things which I had never known, never seen. New game, was it good hunting? Mowgli turned quickly on his side. It was no game, and would have broken all my teeth. But the white cobra said that a man, he spoke as one that knew the breed, that a man would give the breath under his ribs for only the sight of those things. We will look, said Mowgli. I now remember that I was once a man. Slowly, slowly. It was haste that killed the yellow snake that ate the sun. We two spoke together under the earth, and I spoke of you, naming you as a man, said the white cobra. And he is indeed as old as the jungle. It is long since I have seen a man. Let him come, and he shall see all these things, for the least of which very many men would die. That must be the new game, and yet the poison people do not tell us when the game is afoot. They are an unfriendly folk, said Mowgli. It is not game, it is, I cannot say what it is. We'll go there. I have never seen a white hood, and I wish to see the other things. Did he kill them? They are all dead things. He says he is the keeper of them all. Ah, as a wolf stands above meat he has taken to his own lair, let us go. Mowgli swam to the bank, rolled on the grass to dry himself, and the two set off for the cold lairs, the deserted city of which you may have heard. Mowgli was not the least afraid of the monkey people in those days, but the monkey people had the liveliest horror of Mowgli. Their tribes, however, were raiding in the jungle, and so Cold Air stood empty and silent in the moonlight. Car led up to the ruins of the Queen's Pavilion that stood over the terrace, slipped over the rubbish, and dived down the half-choked staircase that went underground from the center of the pavilion. Mowgli gave the snake call, "We be one blood, you and I," and followed on his hands and knees. They crawled a long distance down a sloping passage that turned and twisted several times and at last came to where the root of some great tree growing 30 feet overhead had forced out a solid stone in the wall. They crept through the gap and found themselves in a large vault where a domed roof had been also broken away by tree roots, so that a few streaks of light dropped down into the darkness. "A safe lair," said Mowgli, rising to his feet, "but too far to visit daily. And now what do we see?" "Am I nothing?" said a voice in the middle of the vault. And Mowgli saw something quite move, till little by little there stood up the hugest cobra he had ever set his eyes on, a creature nearly 8 feet long and bleached by being in dark. And bleached by being in darkness to an old ivory white. Even the spectacle marks of his spread hood had faded to a faint yellow. His eyes were as red as rubies, and altogether he was most wonderful. "Good hunting," said Mowgli, who carried his manners with his knife, and that never left him. "What of the city?" said the white cobra without answering greeting. "What of the walled city, the city of 100 elephants and 20,000 horses and cattle past counting, the city of the king of 20 kings? I grow deaf here, and it is long since I heard their war gongs." "The jungle is above our heads," said Mowgli. "I know only Hathi and his sons among elephants. Bagheera has slain all the horses in one village. And what is a king?" "I told you," said Kaa softly to the cobra, "I told you 4 moons ago that your city was not. The city, the great city of the forest, whose gates are guarded by the king's towers, can never pass. They built it before my father's father came from the egg, and it shall endure when my son's sons are as white as I. Salamdi, son of Chandrabaja, son of Vijaya, son of Yagasuri, made it in the days of Bappa Raval. Whose cattle are you?" "It's a lost trail," said Mowgli, turning to Kaa. "I know it is not his talk. I know not his talk. I don't know his talk. He is very old, father of cobras. There is only the jungle here, and it has been since the beginning." "Then who is he?" said the white cobra, "sitting down before me, unafraid, knowing not the name of the king, talking our talk through a man's lips. Who is he with the knife and the snake's tongue?" "Mowgli, they call me," was the answer. "I am of the jungle. The wolves are my people, and Kaa here is my brother. Father of cobras, who are you?" "I am the warden of the king's treasure. Khurrum Raja builded the stone above me in the days when my skin was dark. that I might teach death to those who came to steal. To steal. Then they let down the treasure through the stone, and I heard the song of the Brahmins, my masters. Said Mowgli to himself. I have dealt with one Brahmin already in the man pack, and I know what I know. Evil comes here in a little while. 5 times since I came here has the stone been lifted, but always to let down more and never to take away. There are no riches like these riches, the treasures of 100 kings. But it is long and long since the stone was last moved, and I think that my city has forgotten. Perhaps there is no city. Look up. Yonder are the roots of the great trees tearing the stones apart. Trees and men do not grow together, Ka insisted. Twice and thrice have men found their way here, the white cobra answered savagely. But they never spoke till I came upon them groping in the dark, and then they cried only a little time. But you come with lies, man and snake both, and would have me believe the city is not, and that my wardship ends. Little do men change in the years, but I change never. Till the stone is lifted and the Brahmins come down, singing the songs that I know, and feed me with the warm milk, and take me to the light again. I, with no other, am the warden of the king's treasure. The city is dead, you say, and here are the roots of the trees. Stoop down then and take what you will. Earth has no treasure like to these. Man with the snake's tongue, if you can live by the way that you have entered, if you can go alive by the way you have entered, the lesser kings will be your servants. Again the trail is lost, said Mowgli coolly. Can any jackal have burrowed so deep and bitten this great white hood? He is surely mad. Father of cobras, I see nothing here to take away. By the gods of the sun and moon, it is the madness of death upon the boy, said the cobra. Before your eyes close, I will allow you this favor. Look down and see what man has never seen before. They do not dwell in the jungle who speak to Mowgli of favors, said the boy between his teeth. But the dark changes all as I know. I will look if that pleases you. He stared with puckered lips and puckered up eyes round the vault, and then lifted from the floor a handful of something that glittered. Oh, ho, said he. This is the like of the stuff they play with in the man pack. Only this is yellow and the other is brown. He let the gold pieces fall and moved forward. The floor of the vault was buried some 5 or 6 feet deep in coined gold and silver that had burnt from the sacks it had been originally stored in. And in the long years, the metal had packed and settled as sand packs at the lower tide. On it and in it, and rising through it, as wrecks lift through the sand, were jeweled elephant howdahs embossed with silver and studded with precious plates of hammered gold, and adorned with carbuncles and turquoises. There were palanquins and litters for carrying queens, framed and braced with silver. All the treasure is described in a long paragraph. The white cobra was right. No mere money would begin to pay the value of this treasure. The sifted pickings of centuries of war, plunder, trade, and taxation. The coins alone were priceless, leaving out of count all the jewels. And the dead weight of the gold and silver alone might be 200 or 300 tons. Every native ruler in India today, however poor, has a hoard to which he is always adding. And though in a long while some enlightened prince may send off 40 or 50 bullock carts loaded with silver to be exchanged for government securities, the bulk of them keep their treasures and the knowledge of it very closely to themselves. But Mowgli naturally did not understand what these things meant. So Mowgli and Kaa have gone there to the White Layers, and there they have come across this treasure. Wow, it's a very long chapter describing this treasure, and I think we will get lost in this chapter. This is the King's Ankush, and it is a very, very long chapter. Maybe I'll read it by myself and try to paraphrase it for you next time. So I'll stop here. We are stopping at the place where Mowgli is inside, under the ground in a deep cave or wherever, and the whole place is full of treasure, of golden coins, silver coins, and jewels. And that is where we stop. Now, next time we'll start with the next chapter, page 185, Red Dog. So we'll remember this. I hope you found it interesting. I found it interesting, though it was rather long. So I'll paraphrase it for you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.